Hello, and welcome to Voice of Biafrans. So in today's video, we are going to look at what happened in Aba in the year of 1929 during the Aba Women's Riot. But before we get into the video, please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook at Voice of Biafrans. Our Facebook page has the same name just the way it's spelled on here, so let's get into the video. Imagine the year 1929, a time when colonial rule heavily burdened Nigeria. A time when the sun never set on the British Empire, but in the heart of Africa, the shadows were growing longer. In Nigeria, the indigenous people struggled under the weight of foreign rule, their lives dictated by laws and systems alien to their culture and traditions. At the epicenter of this struggle were the women, the backbone of Nigerian society. They toiled on the farms, they cared for the children, they kept the homes. Yet, they bore the brunt of the British colonial rule. Their work was taxed, their freedoms curtailed, their voices silenced. The colonial administration, in its thirst for revenue, implemented a taxation system that was as burdensome as it was unjust. This taxation system was a sharp departure from traditional customs. For the women of Nigeria, it was an insidious symbol of their subjugation. The British colonial government, with its patriarchal lens, failed to recognize the crucial role women played in the Nigerian society. They were seen as mere appendages to their husbands, their contributions to the economy and society at large dismissed and undervalued. The discontent among the people was palpable. A sense of injustice pervaded the air. The women in particular felt the sting of oppression more acutely. Their spirits were bruised but not broken. They held on to their sense of self, their dignity, their indomitable will. The fires of rebellion were quietly kindling within them. But this was not just a story of oppression and subjugation. It was also a story of resilience and resistance. It was a testament to the power of unity, the strength of a collective voice, and the courage to rise against injustice. It was a narrative that was about to take a dramatic turn. As the tension simmered, little did they know that an uprising was on the horizon, led by the women of Aba. This was the dawn of a rebellion, a revolt that would shake the foundations of the British colonial rule in Nigeria, a revolt that would echo through the annals of history. The stage was set, the actors ready, the script yet to be written. The pot of discontent was about to boil over. As we delve into the events leading up to the riots, we see a Nigerian society on the brink of upheaval. The warrant chiefs, appointed by the British colonial administration to enforce its laws, were increasingly perceived as oppressive. They wielded their power arbitrarily, and their corruption was a source of widespread resentment. Then came the proposed taxation of women. In a society where men were traditionally the primary breadwinners, this was a shocking proposition. The women, who already shouldered the burden of household duties, were being asked to bear an additional financial burden. This proposal was not just a threat to their economic stability. It was an affront to their dignity and their roles within their communities. But the women of Nigeria were not about to accept this without a fight. They convened a meeting at Oloko, a significant gathering that brought together women from different communities. This was a remarkable show of unity, a testament to their collective strength and determination. One significant practice that came to the fore during this time was sitting on a man. This was a traditional method of protest among the Igbo women, where they would publicly humiliate a man by singing and dancing around him until he succumbed to their demands. It was a powerful tool for social control, and its use in this context was a clear message to the warrant chiefs and the colonial administrators: the women would not be silenced. The proposed taxation was the final straw in a long line of grievances. The women were tired of the corruption, the exploitation, and the disrespect. They had endured enough, and they were not going to take it anymore. The meeting at Oloko was not just a gathering of women, it was a congregation of warriors, ready to fight for their rights. The women were ready to revolt, and the stage was set for the Aba Women Riots. The women of Aba, united in their anger and frustration, took a stand. The Aba Women's Riots, also known as the Women's War, was not a spontaneous outburst, but a carefully planned and executed rebellion. It began as non-violent protests by the women, who employed the traditional African method of sitting on a man, a form of public shaming to compel action. The women, in their thousands, would surround a warrant chief's house, singing and dancing provocatively, demanding the chief's resignation and the elimination of the hated tax. It was a powerful spectacle, a challenge to authority that was impossible to ignore. But as the colonial administration remained unresponsive, the women's patience wore thin. Their peaceful protests turned to direct action. Courthouses, symbols of the oppressive colonial legal system, were set ablaze. European-owned stores were targeted, their goods looted or destroyed. The colonial administration, taken aback by the scale and intensity of the rebellion, responded with a brutal force. But the women were undeterred. Their unity and determination were formidable. They were mothers, wives, daughters, fighting for their homes, their livelihoods, their dignity. They were fearless in the face of batons and bullets. The rebellion spread like wildfire across the region, with women from different ethnic groups, social classes, and religions banding together. It was a remarkable display of solidarity. The women of Aba, once seen as docile and submissive, emerged as courageous warriors, their voices echoing across the plains, their actions shaking the very foundations of the colonial rule. The Aba women riots were a turning point, a bold assertion of women's power and agency. The women challenged not just the colonial administration, but also traditional norms and expectations. They demanded respect, justice, and equality. Their struggle was not just against colonialism, but also against patriarchy. The Aba women riots shook the foundations of the colonial administration, leaving a lasting impact on Nigerian history. The riots were quelled, but their echoes resonated far and wide. The immediate aftermath of the Aba women riots saw a significant shift in the British colonial administration's policies. Recognizing the power of the people's voice, the taxation policy that had sparked the uprising was promptly suspended. Additionally, the warrant system, which had been a source of corruption and abuse, underwent a much-needed restructuring. But the ripples of the riots went far beyond policy changes. They spurred a sense of empowerment among Nigerian women who had stood firm against oppressive systems and demanded justice. This period also marked the burgeoning of Nigerian nationalism, as the collective action of these brave women inspired many to question and challenge colonial rule. The Aba women riots, a pivotal moment in Nigeria's history, marked the power of unity, the courage of women, and the spirit of resistance against oppression. Thanks for watching. Please share and like the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please kindly subscribe, and I will see all of you in the next one. Bye for now.